And so another big news that dropped yesterday from Jason Lonk Lockenfora, whatever. He dropped this that the 49ers are starting to offer, or their starting offer for Brock Purdy is at $45 million per season. How much truth do you put into this? Do you think the Niners really are going to start him at $45 million and not really want to budge past 50? Because the discussion is that they don't have the money to give him to make him like a top paid quarterback in the $50 to $55 million range. Do you believe that, or do you think they're just gaslighting everyone into think that, hey, we don't have any money and trying to get a cheaper contract for Brock Purdy?
I think this is a negotiating tactic. It may be like a starting point. We know the Niners are tough negotiators. We know, well, it's been a train wreck, their contract discussions the past few years. They always play hardball and then give in at the end. But, I know Jason takes a lot of crap on the internet when he puts stuff out there. We had Jason on the show. I like Jason, but he came out with that. So we heard it from somewhere. But this is the way I see the Purdy situation. And I don't know where Brock's head is. Brock may be someone who says, listen, I want to have a good team around me. I don't give a shit. Give me $45 million a year, or give me whatever, $48 million a year, and let's just sign it and go.
Could be.
I doubt that. And if you're Brock's camp, okay, this is what you're saying at the negotiating table. My client or whatever, he had a top 4 MVP finish. He led the NFL in 8 passing categories 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. He's a Pro Bowler. He has 4 playoff wins. He's been to 2 NFC championship games. He's been to a Super Bowl. Trevor Lawrence, Tua, Jordan Love, Justin Herbert have done none of those things.
Dak Prescott
had a top MVP finish, but he's done none of those things either.
None of them.
You're offering him what? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, I don't care what you think. Hey, Justin Herbert looks great. He has not accomplished what my client has accomplished. We are not taking $45 million. We're not taking anything less than $55 million. They'd be very right to say that. And the Niners can come back and say, look, your client had a shoulder issue. He had an elbow issue. We're not sure type thing. So that'll be the back and forth. But unless Purdy says, hey, I'll take a little less, there is no way his camp is coming in and being like, yeah, we'll take 40 something. That sounds great. No way. Look at what his resume is. And I know last year, I thought he played really pretty well the first half of the season.
Yeah, I thought he did too.
He did have an injured shoulder, but the injured shoulder doesn't excuse the late interceptions he was throwing, because it's not like it was like, oh God, his arm just couldn't do it on that throw. He was just throwing right at dudes late in games. So that worries me. I think that Brock is a good quarterback who can be a little bit of a gunslinger at times. I think he needs to take a step back in those situations and just play more within the system, not try to do too much. But I do think his arm was impacted, especially on the deep ball the second half of last season. So the long and the short of that is we need to see more. But they're in a situation where they probably have to pay him right now. So I think what it should come down to is a shorter term deal. It's probably going to have to be in that 55-ish million range. It's just a going rate again for those guys that I mentioned. So if you do a 3-year deal, that's really a 2-year deal, maybe something like that, where you could still kind of get out of it. And he still has a chance if he bets on himself to what will he be, 27, 28 when that deal's up, something like that. He could still get another huge deal. So maybe that's the way for them to go. But what's a little scary, if you're reading the tea leaves with this team, it was like, not too long ago, we're going to sign him. We're going to figure it out. And then Lynch comes out the other day kind of saying like, oh, who knows what's going to happen. Kind of like, oh, okay, that's scary. Yeah. So I don't know where they're going to go if they ever decided to move on with him. And if they do move on from him, you're probably in a rebuild situation, because again, where are you going? You're gonna trade for Kirk Cousins? Like, what are you gonna do?
You're gonna go sign Aaron Rodgers? No.
I mean, come on. Like, Aaron Rodgers was horrible last year. So
I'm telling you, if they got Aaron Rodgers, he would get Kyle Shanahan and Robert Saleh fired in the same season. He would find a way.
Rodgers was awful. If people watched him last year, he was bad last year. Missing receivers. He didn't. I mean, he's old and coming off a major injury. So I think that they're going to figure it out. It's just a matter of that number, and they have to figure it out in a way where it doesn't upend the season, where it's late August and he hasn't been in camp, and then he's got to get up to speed or whatever. They have to figure it out soon. And I think that they will, but just everything that's going on with the Niners is so weird right now. And
so weird.
It's always weird, especially when it comes to contracts. So dude, all bets are off. I don't know what the hell's going on with this team.
Well, and then there's talk about there's talk about, they have options, they have leverage in the sense where they could say, okay, well, we're going to play you on your 4th year, and then we'll franchise you the following year and franchise you again the following year. So they have essentially 3 years of control with Brock Purdy. That's saying that Brock isn't going to hold out, that Brock is going to, play nice with the team. If he does do that, then this year you're only paying him $5 million. So you could say, okay, well, hey, guess what? We're going to try and work out this contract next offseason. And if it doesn't work out, we're going to franchise you and then and keep those negotiations going. So that's something they could do. I just don't know how he is going to respond. If he's like Brandon Ayuk and says, okay, well, I'm just going to sit in or hold in or even just do a holdout altogether, that could backfire in their face. And then who do they have? They have Tanner Mordecai, and that's really it. Everybody else is gone or free agents. And so, you have to be able to understand, okay, is he going to hold out? If he's not going to hold out and he's like, yeah, I'll play my 4th year, then hey, let's wait 1 more year. I just don't think he's going to do that, because if you franchise the quarterback too, I want to say you forfeit a lot of the guaranteed money for injury as well. I have to look more into it. I'm talking of something I heard, but I think there's more security for Brock if he signs a contract rather than just getting franchised, like T. Higgins, who just got franchised again.
Yeah.
And then, you look over at like Zach Bond. He just signed a contract with the Eagles about 2 minutes ago. They announced that. What was it? It's a 3-year, $51 million contract, including $34 million in guaranteed money. So he's off. He's no longer a free agent. A guy who came in who was almost just a nobody and had a breakout season, and now he's getting a fat contract from that team. And there's a reason why they cut a lot of those players, because they wanted to make sure to sign, obviously some other players as well, because I think Darius Slay, he got cut, and a few others from their defense. So look for the Eagles to start drafting out of their defense now, or drafting for their defense now. We're talking with Al Sacco, host of No Huddle Podcast, talking about the San Francisco 49ers. So when it comes to Brock, I mean, look, is he the kind of quarterback, do you look at him and say, hey, this is the guy I want to go with? This is the guy that I want here for the next 3 to 4 years? Or do you think it would be better for the Niners to look elsewhere?
I like Brock, and I want to see more from Brock. I just want to see it on a short-term deal. I mean, and then he's not going to get a 6-year deal. It will be more in like if it's a 4-year deal, it'll probably really be like a 3-year deal.
Yeah.
The arm stuff does worry me, because he had the elbow problem, he had the shoulder problem. He's not good in bad weather. Some quarterbacks just aren't. But the arm stuff does worry me a little bit. He is a smaller guy. So the injury thing is there, even though he has started 31 games the last 2 years, which is, I don't think last QB to do that was Kaepernick, probably in back-to-back years, start that many games. So I do want to see him there. I do still think he can be a good quarterback within the system. I do think he was hurt by his shoulder last year, especially with the deep ball, because he's been a very good deep ball quarterback in terms of numbers wise. But he's got to cut down late games, tight games, those interceptions. That's he's got to cut down on that. There are a lot of bonehead throws that he's been making, and those have to end. Now, if you look at quarterbacks throughout the years, Dak, Lamar, CJ Stroud, Jalen Hurts, in their second full year of starting, all of them struggled to an extent in their sophomore season. Their second full year of starting. So that could have just been what it was too. And this 3rd year is a big year for Brock to kind of see, I think, what he really is. But we'll have to see what he's got around him too.
Exactly. Thank you for watching this video. If you want more of this content, then check out some of these recommended videos right here on your screen. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And if you want to support the channel, you can do so by going to my website, which is nicotina.net, and there are memberships available under DreArea Sports.